This is Pastor Ray Frank, Syracuse Wesleyan Church, and today is Monday, December the 9th. Well, I don't often sort of rehash Sunday morning sermon, yesterday's sermon on a Monday morning musing, but I've been thinking a lot about what I preached about yesterday, and that was how Jesus humbled himself and became obedient, became a man. And that idea has just sort of sunk in, and so I've thought a lot about this whole idea of the incarnation being an example or being a demonstration of Jesus' humility. And there's lots of places in the Bible that speaks about the need to be humble, that if we humble ourselves, God will lift us up, and God looks at the humble in heart, and so forth, all through the Old and New Testaments. But I'm even more convinced that the greatest demonstration of that humility, that principle of humility, comes in the birth of Jesus. Listen to these familiar words once more. While they were there, the time came for the baby to be born, and she gave birth to her firstborn, a son. She wrapped him in cloths and placed him in a manger because there was no guest room available for them. Well, what makes that so incredible, that simple little statement, is that of all the people ever been born in the history of the world, Jesus is the only one who chose the place, the time, and how he was to be born. I mean, think about this. You and I don't exist until the moment of conception. But Jesus was pre-existence. He's always been. There was no beginning point. In the life of the Son, the second person of the Trinity, he was God, he was creator, he was robed in majesty, and he chose to come. Now, the fact that he would enter into human life, and I'm not going to try to explain all the mysteries of the incarnation, how he can be God and complete God and holy God, and yet at the same time be man and holy, W-H-O-L-L-Y, man, at the same time that he's God. He's not half man, half God, all of those things. But the fact that he would choose to do that, to provide a way to redeem you and I, is amazing. But the manner in which he would choose to do that, I mean, just out of that simple little phrase there, just, they wrapped him in swaddling clothes. I mean, picture, Jesus, the second person of the Trinity, robed in majesty and power and glory in heaven, and choosing to become a helpless baby, not able to dress himself, needing someone else to take care of him and to nourish him and clothe him, and then laid him in a manger. Really? I mean, not just from the throne rooms of heaven to this, sort of humble little house, but the stable behind the humble little house, and in the stable, in the cow's trough, laid the Lord of Lords and King of Kings. And he chose to do that. And then, of course, maybe perhaps the most amazing thing of all of this is that Jesus would willingly choose to be born and in a place where he knew he would be rejected, because there was no room for them in the end. They didn't make room for him. Now think with me just for a little bit. If you and I had the ability to choose where we were going to be born and the circumstances and all of that. I mean, and think about what we would want. I mean, we'd want, the finest hospital with the latest equipment, just in case something goes wrong. I want somebody, to have all the tools they need. And hey, it may be not being born into a wealthy family, but at least a comfortable family that can provide the basic needs and provide the education and all the things that would be important if people were to recognize that I'm important. Well, we could probably come up with quite a list of prerequisites. But Jesus didn't choose any of those. Poor peasant girl and her fiance. He had choirs of angels announcing it, so took care of that. The announcement was pretty grandiose. But the circumstances? He humbled himself. Why would he do that? Well, he did that so that you and I could always feel accepted. We don't have to be a certain rank, certain social strata, certain intelligence. So no wonder, and in fact, how could we keep from coming and bowing down and worshiping this little baby? Well, I hope it's given you something to think about this Christmas season. Jesus humbled himself. Have a great week.